from Charlie or Santos.
Yeah, I thought Santos was going to be back on board. He keeps apologizing about missing the meetings, and
Yeah,
I'll text him.
think
I haven't heard from him, but
I think he thought so too, but he's probably still tied up.
well, you've got your quorum, so I'll text him and
Yeah. So we're going. First up is the approval of the minutes from September. Does anybody have any issues with those minutes?
Nope, I make a motion to accept.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, sure. Any opposed? Okay. Minutes officially have passed. Let's go to Joanne and the budget stuff.
According to this report, the available budget funds that we have is $22,219.
Yeah, and talking with Tira yesterday, we'll have to come to some conclusion whether or not to hire more marketing help to implement part of this this proposal that Todd sent. Tonight we'll be talking about some things that we could implement easily at little to no cost, things that we could actually get started on. The only other thing, Joanne, you got the invoice for the Business of the Year award?
Yep, I'll take care of that. I should be getting I'll probably get to the town hall by Friday.
All right.
I could drop it.
Thank you. Yeah, I apologize. I should have sent it sooner. It was on my list. I had forgotten to print it out. So anyway, we have it now. Just so everybody knows, the award was only $40. So done, I think reasonable enough. Yeah, anything I have as far as reporting will just be included in the regular agenda. New business adoption of trade names. We have two in the mailbox, but only one is real. Number 12 was TBF Electric, Tyler Farrell on Quinnebog Road, and description of business, it just says electrical. The other one, it says up at the top, it's Superior Storage, but it says replacement for the one that got turned in earlier in the year. I don't know why, but it's not actually a new one. And just noticing, we're only up to that replacement was number 13, and that's all we have for new businesses this year. As we get toward the end of the year, it's not a lot.
Why was that added? Why was that such a? I don't know what to say. Why is it? He's already been open for business, so why did we just get the application now?
Earlier, it was number 2 for the year. I don't know why it got resubmitted. There's a note on it saying it's a replacement.
Oh, okay, all right.
So that's whatever happened. Their business is still their business. We saw Zach this week, and he's doing well. But it turns out it's number 13, but it means we only have 12 new registered businesses this year, because 13 is a replacement for number 2. In addition, just for your information, having to do with business, Route 12 should be open in a couple days, which is going to help places like Thompson Liquor and the dentist and
Tomorrow, they said on Winnie Radio, they said it's going to be open tomorrow.
Okay, well, I talked to the owner of Thompson Liquor, and he said 2 days. So I know they're just buttoning it up now, doing finishing touches today. So tomorrow or Friday, at least it's gonna be open. Um, got a letter from regarding a solar project that's going in on Pompeo Road. CTEC is doing it. They just copied economic development. We don't really have anything to do with it. And one thing I wanted to note, talking to Abby Schmilk, I think it's how you say her name, Abby at the post office. She's got a craft business and she's looking really hard for an actual storefront, and she's looking in Putnam because we don't have anything. That Thompson Pizza Company would have been a nice building for a crafts store, but unfortunately, we don't. She doesn't have that opportunity.
Maybe she should look at maybe teaming up with like that thrift shop on Thompson Road. She doesn't seem to do a lot of business, but maybe they can split the rent and the space in there and do something over there and still be in town and on a main road.
That's a really good idea. Maybe I'll try to talk to Jane.
Because I don't
Doesn't
see
hurt
that
to
thrift shop
ask.
as surviving.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. The thing is, Abby has kind of allied herself with Putnam because it seems to fit better. There's more activity there. She didn't see our business association as being very beneficial. We've been trying to talk her into being more active here, but you have to go where you think your business is going to thrive.
Oh,
But
sure.
but that's a really good idea to at least bring that up, Brian.
Kind of fits with what's there. Might bring more traffic and
Yeah.
might not be enough for her craft business, but it could benefit both businesses.
Well, it doesn't hurt to ask. If they can't work it out or for some reason, that's fine. At least we brought it up.
Yeah.
That's really good thinking because we have the lack of storefronts. And nobody's going to build anytime soon. So that's all I have for new business adoption of trade names. I don't know of any that's gone out. Thompson Pizza Company is still pending. Crossroads is still pending.
Doesn't look
Going
like they're
on
doing
to, go ahead.
at the Thompson Pizza place. Every time I go by, there's like nothing happening, but yet they've been working on it for a long time. Is there a hang up there? Do we know what's going on?
Well, they gutted it, and today there was a truck there. Something official, like some type of inspection going on. So I expect it'll be soon.
Oh, but you
When I
think
talked to Dino a couple weeks ago, he was hoping for the end of September like everybody else, but should be soon. That's all I can say. Because I mean, they gutted the whole thing. The owner
but
of the
it's a-
building.
but I mean, they do house renovations quicker time than that. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah,
just curious.
it's like Crossroads where they had, the Board of Health has to inspect it, and they have to go over any issues and correct those, and then get inspector back there, and that all takes time.
Yeah, food service is difficult. Besides health, you've got the fire inspections. That's huge. With
And
all the
that's what was
right
there today.
fire suppression and hoods and
It was something to do with fire inspection. That's what the van was there today.
I saw online too a photo of the progress on the car wash by the liquor store. I don't know if that was Northeast Newsreel or something. Had a photo. I don't get down that section of Route 12 since the bridge is shut down. I'm surprised it was just a one stall car wash, but I guess that's all he has room for.
Well, the main building is going to be Thompson Liquor,
Yeah.
and then they're going to lease out where Thompson Liquor is now. So most of that expansion, most of that building was not slated for car wash anyway. But anybody know of anything else that's closing down or opening up, or I can't think of anything. moving on, TBA membership, we're still at 72 there. We are now beginning the process to install a new executive board, looking for nominations and an official election in January at the annual meeting. The fall mixer, and everyone is invited. That, as Brian mentioned, is I think October 24th, 5 to 7 at Donahue Land Care on Lowell Davis. And that is the same time as Trunk or Treat. Someone suggested that we use my Rambler wagon and set it up for Trunk or Treat for TBA, but it's a conflict this time of year. Lots of conflict. Moving on to old business. We have still have the open slot for EDC alternate. I was going to give you a few details on the Community Day follow-up. We had a meeting yesterday. Who went to the Community Day? I know Fredo was there and Dan was there.
I didn't make it, but they had great
No.
pictures on Winnie.
Oh, good. Yeah, Gary was there and he was taking pictures
yeah.
everywhere.
It's a good one of you giving out the award to the Business of the Year.
Oh, good. We got a lot of good feedback on that. And the nice thing is that Blackie was there along with Murdy.
Yeah.
And they normally don't go, but the family kind of duped them into it. And they were really happy. I mean, it's a long time coming. He's been there since ever.
Recording in progress.
The
What
one
was
that
that?
Pixicon.
Sorry, I think that was Dan switching from mobile to his office.
Oh, okay. Well, as far as the pizza contest, Joe,
Yeah.
Drafters won again. And all I'm telling people is that Drafters won. There was a tie for second. We only had 3 participants again, but the second tie, and there was only 4 votes between first and second. If it goes like, well, we have to make some changes. That's part of what we talked about yesterday. I told the group, if we don't make changes, we're not going to do a pizza contest next year, because nobody knew about it. We couldn't make announcements. We were blocked by the Weekend Warrior truck. It was just awful. Out of 12 pizzas, we gave 9 whole pizzas away. So it's not worth doing if we can't announce it, remind people. I was walking around in between slicing and telling people pizza contest, and nobody knew about it. Because we have to be able to make continuous announcements and tell people what's going on. And the reptile show is going on now. And the PA, it's kind of sad. We really have to do something. But as far as the pros, we had really good attendance at the whole event. Food trucks were good, entertainers were good, the speeches were good. We had 24 cars for the cruise, which looked like, all lined up there, looked like it took a good part of the field. On the downside, we had 12 out of 81 vendors did not show. They're going to look into kind of why. I mean, that's 15%. That's quite a bit.
They didn't tell you why? They just didn't show?
Right. There were a couple that said they couldn't make. I think there were 2 that said they couldn't make it, but there were 12 that didn't show up. So
it does happen to be the case that our entry on our events is super, super low. So it's not that difficult for a vendor to decide that they'll eat the eat the cost if something comes up later that's more favorable. It's a
Yeah.
problem when they don't tell us, obviously. But and you know, as Renee likes to point out, the point of Community Day is not to make profits. So I think that the entry fee will always be low there.
Yeah, and I
but
think it
Leavens-
should be.
Yeah, I agree for Community Day for sure. Leavensy was trying to get people to register for all three of the vendor heavy events, mostly as a way to boost participation for the winter market.
Yeah.
But the downside of doing a bundle like that at the beginning of the year is, you know, particularly a professional craft vendor, you know, somebody who's not doing it just as a hobby, could get a better opportunity. And it's so insignificant to eat a $30 or $40 cost if you think you're going to make, you know, hundreds of dollars. Not saying that that's the reason why, but, you know, could be a factor for some of them.
Yeah, it's just that they're going to try to do some follow-up. Well, the problem with it, guys, is like we talked in our meeting, you have these spaces where you'd be able to pull people in closer together or fill the space so it doesn't look like you have a lot of gaps. You know, with 12 missing, that's a lot of gaps. We had talking about utilizing walkie-talkies better. And and the hours next year, we're going to cut it by 1 hour. It's going to go 11 to 3. Because by 2:30, people were wanting to leave, and we're not allowing vehicles on the field in order to pack up their stuff. So they had to wait till 4 o'clock to drive their SUV or whatever and pack up their tents.
Just so you know, Santos just texted me back. He is stuck at work, which I figured was probably the case, but officially he's not going to make it tonight.
Okay, yeah, I figured that too, Tara. Thanks. The only other, you know, there was a lot of stuff we talked about, like, you know, communication and signage and stuff, but there was one point where somebody parked at the end of the field, which is the way vehicles were leaving, and our cars couldn't get out. Yeah, I don't know who that was, and Levency may know, or somebody, but they shouldn't have parked. They actually parked and blocked the exit. So that was an issue that held things up for a while.
And that was also another thing where the PA system would be helpful.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, there was a point, too, Dean, a woman came to me and her son lost his cell phone. I went to make an announcement and there was nothing set up because the sound system, we didn't have one set up. Whatever was being set up was for the band, the school, everybody was setting up their own. And at that time, there was no PA. So I couldn't even make an announcement to say, hey, if you find a phone, here's the lady.
Didn't we
So
buy him for EDC last year or the year before? Or we talked
well,
about
Thompson
it,
Rec
right?
has a PA and they didn't use it.
Huh. Okay. Well, is it
I
something
also-
that we should be investing in? Because didn't Brian, you wanted it for the trails too, for the turkey
What-
trot, or? is it
Joanne,
not?
we have the system for whatever reason. Once the school set up theirs, Brian Levency opted not to use ours. We did talk about it at the meeting. We can use it in conjunction. If it's a little heavy to move, being about 50 pounds, but if we had a wagon or something, we can move it from one side to the other when we need to make announcements. Lacking 2 portable systems, which would be ideal, but for what we have, it should do the job. It's just that from the middle, you can't aim it in both directions at once, and it can't be on both sides at the same time. But utilizing it is better than not utilizing it.
Yeah, we even talked about putting it on a wagon. We had so many school volunteers. It was great, and most of them were really good, really nice kids. But you know, I could picture putting it on a wagon and couple of these ham bones could walk around with a microphone and saying, 1:30 pizza contest. Don't forget the pizza contest. I mean, they could just walk around pulling this wagon with the portable PA on it. Even that would help us. Um, as far as revenue, it looks like we took in something like 1950, and after everything is paid, we'll have something like $700, which is great because again, it's not for making money. Um, the consensus in the group is saying, if we break even, we're good. So uh, that's it. Unless you have any questions, I won't go in. We don't need much more
Oh.
details. Yeah.
The other thing about Community Day real quick is I was on Chris Chinaki, Redbeard's Bait and
Yeah.
Fat Boy Belts. He was on the radio with us yesterday morning, and he mentioned that he wasn't happy with his location. He said years past he's been up on the sidewalk with all the other people and he's made a few $100s. This year they stuck him all the way down in the back of the field and he only made $100.
Oh,
That's me, Dan. I do the layout, and for some reason, I thought he wanted to be with all the TBA members. So
Oh,
if you talk to him again, you can apologize to him on my behalf. I thought, for some reason, I thought that was his intent.
okay.
So that I will totally take responsibility for that.
I told him to just tell him next year, when he's registering, that's where he wants to be. So
Yeah, and that is so easy for me to accommodate for. And in fact, I actually thought about putting him there anyway, and there was either some note about it that he was a TBA member and therefore, or somebody mentioned something to me, or, maybe I just assumed it on my own, but I was sticking all the TBA businesses in one area together.
gotcha. Excuse me.
yeah. And next year we won't have the Weekend Warrior truck blocking everybody. Just takes up too much space on that field. You couldn't see into the next aisle, and nobody could see the pizza contest. Um, we'll deal with that when we start planning for next year, but it won't be where it was this year. So yeah, unless anybody has anything else for Community Day. Okay. The other item I had, just to follow up, we had the Spicer propane ribbon cutting last week. Pretty well attended. A lot of Spicer employees showed up from all over the place. They had good snack. The only glitch was they changed the time from 9 to 10, and a lot of us didn't know. So I got there at 10 minutes to 9, had to wait till 10 to start the official ribbon cutting ceremonies, but it still went off okay. Nice people. And they really do seem to want to get involved with the community. They're joining all the business associations, and um, so it was nice. And okay, new business. Under new business, I put that SBA loan program. After our meeting last week, Dan reached out and talked to people, Sylvia at SBA, and they have this webinar going on October 23rd, 1 to 2. Now, the problem with that is the link is no good. Um, the one that's
Uh-oh.
on the flyer is no good. And when I searched for a website, uh, I'm looking for it. Yeah, the register here thing. I thought I had it here somewhere. Yeah, it gives an error that it's not there. I got trying to get back to my trying to get back to the Zoom meeting here. So I was looking for it on my screen.
Oh, wow, that's not good.
No, I actually went online looking under SBA and I found um, October 23rd. It's what was it, a loan program, I think, but, and even that, it goes to the same dead link that this is not available. So I'd have to do some more research on that or call them.
Well, Tira, what do you think about that?
So I was going to register.
I
I
mean,
I am looking it up right now just to verify with my own eyeballs.
I already did that. He's definitely right. And I'm about to send her an email.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah, and part of it
Now,
is
now I
on
just
me.
clicked a link. Wait a minute. I
Yeah.
just clicked a link on SBA for webinar, what documentation is required when applying for an SBA loan. I clicked the register button and it brought me to a page. Oh, and here's another one. Yeah, it brings me to a registration page.
Where are you getting that from?
Here, I'll drop it in the chat. From the
Because
Yeah.
SBA site.
and where were
When we
you
use that,
from, Brian?
who, me? I clicked the link on the flyer, and then I went to in search for SBA, and I found um, one, subject, and it was about that particular thing on the 23rd, and I got the same error message. I shouldn't have had to dig too deep for that.
No,
No.
you shouldn't have. I can tell you that the link on the town's Facebook page, 100%, that goes not to a live link on the flyer. That flyer is obviously a PDF or a JPEG of the original flyer. So I assume that's why you can't click through there. But I just did a quick DuckDuckGo search of SBA October 23rd webinar, and it brought me exactly to the right page. I clicked the registration link and it brought me all the way through to an active page.
Okay.
So what really needs to happen is I'm gonna copy this and send it to myself to give to Marie in the morning to just freshen it on the Thompson Facebook page, and we'll send it back out.
Okay.
Brian, the ZBA is starting, so I'm gonna mute you. So
Okay.
if you need me, just hang on till I finish all this.
Okay.
So I'll send that email to Jody because the one on the TBA website is a broken link. So I'll send an email to Jody instead, asking her to fix the link.
Okay. Oh, that reminds me, Dan, going back to pizza contest, did the stuff I sent get posted? I sent it to, I think you, Jody, and Sandy, but I did a little write-up and a PDF of a certificate saying they won.
I don't see it on here.
I sent it to Levency too for Thompson Rec, but I haven't followed up to actually check websites. But I mean, we want to highlight the event after the fact also to hopefully people want to be part of it next year.
Did you invite everybody in town that's a pizza house to the contest? How did they know about it?
Listen, I went to Max and I went to Crossroads and I went to LB's, Milltown, Thompson House of Pizza. I went to Woodstock Tavern to try to get Thompson Pizza Company.
Hmm. Okay.
I went to Riverside.
Wow. So you personally invited people and only 3 showed up. Yeah, so.
Yep. Oh
Okay.
yeah, because
Well,
I give them a handout. I give them a flyer for Community Day so that hopefully they get their employees and other people to go. And I give them a half page that has the simple rules. Yeah,
all right. All right.
I try.
Yep.
But okay, well, we'll get that loan program webinar thing settled out and we can get registered. Um, I'll try to do that tomorrow. The other item here, we have to vote on our 2025 meeting schedule, and we probably need, well, we don't really need Brian because we have 3.
Uh, oh, 3 is your quorum. Then no,
Yeah.
you don't need Brian. Yeah.
Did everybody look at the meeting schedule that I sent?
Yep. I didn't check the dates to see if they conflict with something, so.
There's no holidays. The only thing I can tell you is that the June meeting, I will not be here.
Well, you should have put that in there. So you
Well,
might highlight.
well, no, I mean it's not the Brian show. That's my birthday.
Oh, well, there you go. More
Well,
reason to show up.
it's not about me. It's the fact that see the one time the whole year that all 12 grandkids are together.
Oh,
It's the only day.
well, you can have the day off. We'll let you.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we'll still have an agenda, and yeah, we'll just do it without me. I didn't see a reason not to have a meeting. So I put it on this. If everybody's okay, I don't see any conflicts with holidays, or it's not too close to Christmas or Thanksgiving.
I'll make a
Oh,
motion to accept.
Okay.
Just for whatever it's worth on the date that you're not there, since this commission does not elect a vice chair or a secretary, if you decide to hold the meeting, you'll probably need to establish at the prior month's meeting who will be acting as chair in that meeting.
Okay. And I'll put that to you guys. Is that, well, because we don't have a big crowd here. I mean, if nobody's willing to act as chair, we could just suspend the meeting.
You can make that decision the month before, depending on whether you think that June meeting will have urgent business to conduct, which there's no way we'd know now. The only thing you might want to consider is June 30th is the end of the fiscal year. So you may in fact have budget items to vote on at that.
Yeah.
So
And
we'll discuss.
let me see. And when? Okay. Juneteenth is the day after. I knew there were
And
no
that is a
holidays.
holiday.
Right. But I knew there were no holidays on that day. I just thought, just now I got the thought, when is Juneteenth? Because I know it's that week. Okay. I mean, if everybody's okay with this schedule, Joanne made a
Yep.
motion
Yep.
and
Yep.
Dan
I'll
can second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. Nobody's opposed? Good. It sounds crazy to say all in favor and nobody's opposed on a Zoom meeting. It just doesn't sit right with me. But I will get this over to Renee, the town clerk, and get it posted. Okay. Now we're up to progress reports. We're at 7:05. How are we doing with grants, Tira?
Well, I think everybody here knows that the big grant did come through.
Yeah,
$4,047,484. I've got that on record in every meeting I've been in for weeks.
I know.
Yeah, so the contract is not finalized. That will take me a while. Not just me, but the state. Everybody sort of goes into a big queue. I did send back today, what do they call it? They call it the PAM, and I can't remember what the acronym PAM stands for. But essentially it's some more supporting documentation. Who's the project management team? Stuff like, did we get our letter of determination from SHPO? Do we need an NDDB review? And any revised new timeline. So I sent back everything I had. I believe that they now have enough supporting documentation, including obviously our original application packet, to create the assistance agreement. It's the DECD legal team that creates the assistance agreements, and it takes them however many weeks. Then we have to review it with our counsel. For little grants, I don't always send them to the town attorney. I can generally just read them myself, but for a big, for a multi-million-dollar project, we would definitely have our attorney weigh in. Although to some extent, if it's the state's template, we're using the state template regardless, but we do have some wiggle room on some items. Probably, like, for example, technically all DECD grants are reimbursement grants, meaning you spend your money and then they give it back to you. But this particular grant has a zero match requirement because it's for the towns that are the most challenged, financially distressed, whatever other reason. It's only 65 to 70 towns in the state that qualify for it. So obviously that means we don't have financial resources and cash on hand. So in the past, with some of the larger DECD grants, we have done it, we call it a drawdown. Technically that's not correct either, but essentially we would get billed by our vendors, submit the bills from the vendors to DECD to pay us out directly, as opposed to us paying the vendors first and then getting reimbursed. It's only a difference of about a week or two for the vendor. But otherwise we'd have to constantly be drawing out of the general fund. If we even had that much money in the general fund, it's not great practice. So I already have sort of a verbal from DECD that that'll be fine, but it'll probably have to be edited into the assistance agreement. I'm reasonably optimistic that we'll have all that paperwork finalized by the end of the calendar year. Unlike some of the more complicated large grants, we're in control of all the properties involved. There's only one small encroachment permit that we would likely have to file with the State Department of Transportation, and that's the extension of the sidewalk north on Route 12 from Main Street to where it currently ends in front of that former church, because that's the state's right of way. So, but with the Riverside Drive sidewalks, we needed, all kinds of encroachment permits and stuff from the railroad, and DOT's review process on their engineering takes forever. Those things aren't factors here. So I'm hoping that by the end of calendar 24, we will have all the documents signed so that we can start going out to bid for the remaining design services where those are needed, and also put the construction contract for Main Street and the sidewalks out to bid as well. And tomorrow morning at 10, I've got a con call with the design engineer from Main Street, which is the same civil engineering firm and the actual same engineer who designed the Riverside Drive sidewalks. They also did the engineering documents for Main Street and those sidewalks. So they will prepare the construction bid documents for us. So we're gonna all talk about that tomorrow. There's already a couple of ideas that were floated in the MISRAC meeting that I want to discuss with the engineer to possibly amend the plan a little bit. For example, it was suggested that maybe it makes sense to make Main Street one way from the southbound intersection with 12 to the northbound. And that's to address persistent concerns from neighbors in that area with the speeds of cars coming from the southbound side on 12 at the north intersection. That's a 45-mile-an-hour zone that slows immediately to a 15-mile-an-hour zone and a very densely packed residential area. You know, so there's the kind of things I want to talk about with the engineer. It would also mean you couldn't take the right onto Main Street from the intersection with where Reardon and Redbridge come down that hill. That's a crappy right anyway. Probably nobody should be doing that right. So if it goes one way, you know, probably creates a little bit of a safer situation there. But, you know, I want the traffic engineer to tell me whether that's feasible or not.
Yeah, that is a tough corner coming out. We're doing that all the time with the ball fields up there with the grandkids.
Yeah, and it's not like the other way, down Reardon to Blaine is so far out of the way, really. If you're coming out of that neighborhood, it's not really that, none of these distances are far.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's a little inconvenient, but it could be worse. Hmm.
And actually, you can still come out there. You just can't take you couldn't take the right. You could still take the left into the
Yeah.
one-way traffic. So yeah, so it's really, it's barely a blip.
See what happens. Yeah. Okay. Do you have
Oh,
anything?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you were asking me about grant updates in general, and I got fixated on the SIF grant.
Yeah.
Because it's the most immediate. So the work on the train wreck Memorial Park will start the first week of November. We have confirmation from the construction company. They're going to come out and start clearing and grubbing. They will continue until the weather shuts them down, and then they will return in the spring, you know, for the new construction season to finish, to do the actual construction. I expect everything they'll do between now and the end of the calendar year will be site prep and site clearing.
Is that it for your stuff?
Well, I mean, I think possibly the other grants are covered under another agenda item, but I'm not looking at it. I mean, the 65 main pair of grants, the Reno under the Small Business Administration grant through Congress, through Senators Blumenthal and Murphy, that's wrapping up now. Flawless Cleaning and Painting Services is doing the exterior painting. If you guys haven't been by there, you should go. It looks fantastic already. I was down there talking to Mike King today, taking some progress pictures, and he thinks they'll be completely done by the end of next week at the latest. Looks like good weather for the next week and a half, so I'm sure that'll be pretty accurate. Santos is going to order a custom door for the basement with some of the remaining funds, and that pretty much is a wrap on that Reno grant. The planning grant, obviously the workshops are now concluded. We had one touch base call with the project partners. I had a call with Denise from Small Business Development Center yesterday to go over my draft business plan. I got to go back in and sort of flesh it out a little more. And then John Guskowski of Tyke and I have to connect over the next couple of days into next week, maybe, to outline what the structure of the master plan is going to be. And, you know, I'll be scheduling periodic calls with my grant partners. But you know, that writing process is gonna flow from now through, I mean, it's, the performance period closes at the end of March 2025. So by the end of that date, we will have a complete master plan as my final deliverable on the planning grant. And obviously all the other stuff is going on in the meantime, right? The stuff at the high school and the exterior renovation. Once the SIF grant closes, we'll get back to work on finalizing the interior design and renovation, yada, yada, yada. I think that is all my grants.
Okay. All right. Well, I know you're busy. There's a lot. Okay.
you for that.
Next. Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
No, I said thank you for
Oh.
all that hard work.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the job description, so it's all okay.
Yeah,
But we'd like to say thank you too.
that's right.
I appreciate your appreciation.
Yes.
And thank you for saying thank you, Joe. Okay, we're up to marketing and revitalization of downtown core, including 65 Main. And of course, Tira covered a lot of that with the grant updates. And we did have the last Wednesday meeting last month, so that concluded. Did everybody look at the condensed marketing plan that I sent?
Yep.
Nope. I have not yet.
Okay. Do you have it there?
I do, yeah.
I took 17 pages and turned it into 4.
Thank you
And
for
just,
that.
well, there's a lot of stuff I left out because it requires funding. What we agreed last month was to start looking at this and look at some things that we can actually do. Start implementing for zero or no or little cost, or things we can start working on without, state help and that kind of stuff. So there is a lot here that we can work on. And even essentially I did 3 pages, and the 4th page is the same as the page 17 in Todd's marketing plan. And it's kind of a summary. So I left his page 17 as is and made it our page 4. And then I put point references. As we go through this, you can look in the entire document and see where the idea came from. Starting out, we have how to establish key performance indicators, and one is track and report Thompson's commercial vacancies. That would need some work. I don't know, Joanne, is that something that you?
I saw it. I caught it.
But since you do real estate, is that something you could kind of assist
yeah.
with and say where we should go?
Sure. I mean, if it's listed in my MLS, there is a commercial real estate company that also does commercial listings that I'm not privy to. In other words, I'm not a member, so I can't jump on their website and see what's available. But anything that's commercial in Thompson, yeah, I am aware of it, and I usually try to let Tara know what's available too. So I'm used to doing that. So yeah, I can take care of that.
Is that we can add that to our monthly meeting, just an update on what's available, and then everybody knows.
And commercial. Okay.
And then we have track and report number of closed versus new businesses, and I can handle that because I get the trade name paperwork, and they're also supposed to turn in something official when they shut down their business, so we can easily track that too.
Um,
Yeah.
So who are we tracking it to? Just to ourselves, you mean, for these couple items? Is just that, like, at this meeting,
Yeah.
we'll add it to the agenda where we'll talk about it each month, so we'll all know what's going on?
Yep. Yeah, and
Okay.
that way, by doing that, a lot of us are involved in, other things, including the TBA. Tira's on a bunch of
Mhm.
committees, commissions. We go to the Northeast Realtor meetings. So it's nice to be aware, and we can share that information when necessary. And in a case like I told you, talking to um God, I just had a brain fart. Abby. Talking to Abby, who wanted a place to set up business, we could all just be more aware of what's available. This was one of Todd's suggestions, and I think we can easily implement this. That's all.
Okay, yeah,
So,
no,
just
I
to
was just
jump
curious.
on that,
Yeah.
I think the larger purpose of that, again, should you decide, which I think to some extent you had already decided a few months ago, that you're going to move on to a new RFP for implementation,
Yeah.
those pieces that you're assembling month to month don't just come to this commission. They would go to that consultant
Oh,
who
okay.
is, right, your maintainer of this. Now, with a $10,000 annual budget, you might actually not get somebody who's going to be maintaining constantly or even monthly, but maybe you can. So, if that's what you decide to do, one thing that will have to be done is to determine what from the marketing plan that you've already paid for, you would then be paying for a vendor to accomplish for you
Oh, yeah.
on an ongoing basis.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I cannot do it. I can't do it.
Yeah. Tira told me that earlier, well, yesterday. And the stuff, and I told Tira that what we're looking at, there's only one thing in here, and it's uh just kind of keeping an eye on grants that other towns are getting. And that's one thing that she might be able to just, keep an eye on, because we're not privy to that generally. Everything that I had on these 3 pages, I was looking at the commission um, following through somehow, and until we hand off some things to another company, like Tira said.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, like, about the track and report Thompson's commercial vacancies, that we should, I mean, we should have that when we go to the meeting, to the commercial real estate meeting every month. We should
Yeah.
have, like, everybody else in that room has like a pile of papers. All right, I want to talk about this one. We should do that, right? Especially if
Well,
we're,
in fairness, Dan, the people who are bringing those piles of papers are the brokers,
I know,
right?
I know. I'm just saying, if we're gonna track it anyway, we have it, then why not? Why not get it out there?
Well, that's why last month I brought up drafters.
Yeah.
We're not really realtors. We don't have the list of listings like all those people have. But since no one brought it up, I brought it up because they may have a client who's looking for a place.
Right.
And Tara, by the way, I did go to I said I was going to talk to them about hosting. And I
Yeah.
did go to them, and they're going to get to Crystal because she's not around. And they're supposed to get back to me, and I haven't heard back yet. Because I told them it would be in their best interest if she really wants to find a buyer to host a commercial realtors meeting there.
Oh, yeah.
So I did do what I said I was going to do, and I'll have to follow up if I don't hear from someone soon. I went last week.
Yeah, well, what's her name? Carolyn has not come back to me about that. At some point she will. So, if it hasn't been determined by a certain period of time, I'll just find an alternate venue and that's fine. Yeah, but that would be ideal, I think, for my purposes, or
Yeah.
for our purposes.
Well, like I said, I'll follow up. I talked to one of the people that's managing the business right now. And he said, well, she's really busy. I'll try to, put it to her. So we'll see. But I'll follow up if I don't hear.
Is drafters for sale?
Yeah, the whole building is for sale. And well, in case you don't know, Joe, Crystal is now CEO of her father's trucking company.
Who's Crystal? The owner of drafters?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she's not there at all. She's got a couple
Okay.
people running it, and the whole thing is for sale, business and all. But if someone decided to buy that building and turn it into something else, Drafters is closed. If they decide to buy the whole thing and keep a turnkey restaurant pub going, then Drafters stays open. It's up to whoever buys it.
Okay, because then I don't know who they've got it listed with, but it's nobody in Connecticut.
It's
Glick and whatever.
Yeah.
It's what?
Glick is the first name on the sign.
Oh, Lickman?
No, it starts with a G.
Oh, Glickman.
Yeah.
Or Glick. Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. It's not there. Those big commercial companies. I have no idea. I didn't even know it was for sale. So, bad me. But I don't have the resource. I don't belong to that commercial realtor, so I won't be able to give you an accurate inventory of commercial properties in Thompson, since I don't have access to every commercial broker in the area.
Yeah.
Now, the only real estate folks whom I know personally in Thompson who work in the commercial realm are Peter and Ryan LaJoy.
Ryan LaJoy has his own. Nope, all of his listings are I can see because he's a member of the Greater Hartford Board of Realtors. But Peter Lang is probably a broker with that other company that I can't get
Premier.
Yeah.
Well, the point I was trying to make is that would be a good.
He's a CR Premier. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. As we're talking about people to invite to be alternates, somebody with that particular connection would fill an actual deficit on this commission if anybody knows anybody else. And Peter, I don't think would be, I don't think he would be interested in attending this monthly meeting. And I think the same thing about Ryan probably, even though Ryan obviously handles properties which are commercial. So my point was, I don't know if there's anybody else working in town, right? Because you have to be a town resident to be on a town commission who would fit that bill.
Yeah, I nobody that I'm aware of for sure. Yeah. Peter Lang works for CR Premier Real Properties. Well, the next time I drive by drafters, I'll look at the sign and pull off the information.
Yeah, I know when I brought it up at the commercial realtors meeting, Tony was aware and he knew right away what I was talking about, and he knew the realtor.
Oh, Tony Shabbat?
Shabbat.
Yeah.
Tony Shabbat, yeah. He doesn't live in Thompson, though, does he?
No, I'm just saying he knew what I was talking about.
Well,
and right away he said, oh, yeah, that's Glick, whatever.
Yeah.
So he knew about it.
Tony is a commercial broker, too.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, but he'd be helpful, but he doesn't live in town, right?
Yeah, but no, I wasn't suggesting him for an alternate. I'm just saying that he knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
He was aware of the property.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right, well, we'll do what we can reporting commercial and see if we can enhance that, if we can find some contacts. The next item was focus on business development, emphasizing downtown Mill Rehab District and Thompson Corridor, the TCDD Development District. Outreach to existing businesses. There's a lot in there about outreach to businesses and surveys and things like that. which we'll have to do some brainstorming. We won't do that tonight. The first one, outreaching to existing businesses, is ask how town services / support can be improved. And that's something we talk about when we do talk person to person with businesses, but maybe we should develop some kind of a quick survey or questionnaire so we're all on the same page.
Did we already
Um,
do that or try to do that?
We've done parts of this for specific things, but we don't follow through long term. You'll see when we get to some of this, Joanne will remember years ago reaching out to businesses, getting the business list. Um, we used to go out and huh?
I spent a lot of time on that. That was
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, yeah. We used to get together. We got together at Johnston Real Estate. We got together at different locations and worked on those business lists. And we used to do visits and come back at the meeting and report, oh, I visited, my 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
And in this 3 pages, that comes back. Because I do remember one time there was, I think, a hair salon that opened up uh, um, right next to Charlie Trudeau on Riverside. And they opened up and they went under really quick. And all we heard was they were all upset that we never checked on them.
Yep, that's right. I remember that.
And
They were really. I remember that.
yeah, and sometimes, I mean, we do try to check on businesses, but it's not the first day. We do what we can. Everybody, works or has other things. But we can make a better effort to let the businesses know that we're here. Especially in the case of somebody like Abby who wants to open a business. Um, I know there was one in town a few years ago. They wanted a larger space and they went to Dudley because they got no headway here. I don't know who they talked to, but they felt that Thompson, wasn't the fit and they went out of town and actually expanded their business. We could have had that if we were maybe more prepared.
Is that K-Cats you talking?
No, K-Cat's moved to Webster and then she went with her husband. He was something with the airport in Southbridge or something. So it wasn't, I don't think it was K-Cat's, Joe. I think it
Okay.
was a different one who needed bigger space, but K-Cat's is another one that did move out of town and maybe could have moved closer to the main corridor. I don't know. I don't remember the full details there.
What did you just say about Ryan LaJoy being a good fit for what reason?
Well, he handles some commercial real estate, but
No,
I don't.
I said I didn't think Peter Lang would be a good fit. I don't think he'd be interested in the monthly meetings. And I similarly don't think that Ryan would be interested. I don't think that he would be a poor fit. I think he would be a fantastic fit. But just reading between the lines and some other conversations I've had with him, I don't think that he would be interested in joining the commission. Doesn't mean nobody can ask him. I just wouldn't expect him to.
Well, he was on it and he was chair for a long time, so I don't expect him to come back as an alternate.
He was president. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he was chair of the commission for a long time.
Oh,
See what I learned about what happened before I came on?
Yeah, I took over for Ryan. Well, the funny thing is, Ryan stepped down and we all sat here, me and Joanne and John Sharp, and we said, well, we don't need no stinking chair. We'll just handle the commission. And then we were told you have to have a chair. And all of us said no. All of us. And it was like the opening scene in F Troop where everybody takes a step back and Colonel Parmenter is left looking like he's volunteering. That's how I got to be chair.
Yes. Actually, Ryan, and I know I've been on this committee longer than Ryan, but Ryan came on and he was very young. This is like 15 years ago when Sally White was involved on the commission, and she designated him as the president. Or the chair, I should say. I'm sorry, the chair. And he didn't have the guts to say no to her, so we said okay.
Yeah, so
So Brian is very busy. I mean, he's a broker of Johnson and Associates. He's got a lot of listings I noticed lately, and he does have the commercial properties in town, and I'm glad he's got them, and that whoever is in town who owns a business didn't list them with a company that's not from the area, or that, doesn't understand our area. So I know that Ryan will not come back to the EDC, but
you know
I can
what? You know what, Joe? Maybe I could talk to Ryan. Maybe he could just give us an update and
yeah,
we
well,
could
I mean, he
report on it.
can,
He wouldn't have to sit
sure.
in. I mean, it doesn't hurt to check.
no.
I was,
I
well, that's
was
why-
going to reach out to him because I just noticed he got a new listing. I was going to reach out to him anyway, so maybe that'll give me another excuse to reach out to him.
If you want to do that,
Okay.
because maybe he won't mind just giving us an update of the listings once a month.
Yeah, but again, his listings, he belongs to my real estate company, my MLS.
But does
So
he
I'm
belong to
aware of-
others? Does he belong to others too?
I don't think so. I
Oh.
mean, that's a whole different branch of real estate. Is if you're a commercial realtor, as opposed to residential. There are some realtors that are just strictly commercial.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll check with him regarding if he is a member of GLIC or any other commercial MLS systems, but I'll follow up with him.
Yeah, if we can get an in-town resource like that, they don't have to be on the commission,
Yeah,
but,
okay. I'll take care of it.
but it would help us. Okay, thank you, Joe. Yeah, that back to the asking how town services and support can be improved. I don't know. Should we develop a survey for that? For maybe when we do visit businesses, we would have, even if we didn't give them a write-up survey, we would have specific questions to ask. I don't think he's talking to us, right?
No, I don't think so, but I assume he will be back. It sounds like he's on a phone call off screen.
Yeah. See, the very next item there is provide a business outreach status update in the monthly EDC meetings. That's assuming that we set up some type of schedule or some type of plan where we do well, get ourselves out there to visit with businesses and then report back. Yes, I saw this one. They're happy with the town service. They're happy with, EDC, or they had these suggestions. So, what I did in that regard, I did go to the assessor's office and I asked for a full list of all the businesses. I didn't get it yet. Because that would give us something to start with. I was hoping to have it for, tonight, but I don't. Paul has to get back to me. And the very next item is inform businesses about town and state resources. And that's things that we may or may not know about right now. Incentives, business development organizations such as the SBA and SCORE. SCORE is one, I didn't print out any specifics, but they offer all kinds of support, loans, advice, all kinds of things for small businesses. And the very last one there says host SCORE and CTSB DC workshops. And I put in red, that would be something like the SBA Zoom that we've scheduled for next week. So thanks to Dan reaching out, we already have something something to that effect going on. Anybody have any comments so far on that little section?
No,
No.
The next one is another easy one, present awards for business recognition. And we'll continue annual business of the year. I'd like to get more participation in that, so we don't not have to scrape. But of course, the last couple of years we got really, really good ones, even though we didn't have a lot of submissions. One of Todd's suggestions, what he threw out there was Institute Longevity Awards. And we could easily do something like that. Maybe not for, 5 years, we could do 20-year award or, something to that effect. Maybe we'll get some more ideas when we see the whole business list. See if we have some really long-term businesses.
That's not something you'd need a nomination for. You would just find businesses that have been 20 years and pick one of them, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah. But it might, make them feel more involved. It would be another
Yeah.
reason to get more people to community day. Wouldn't
Oh,
take
yeah.
very long. Don't need a long speech.
No, I'm not. I wasn't saying anything against it. I was just clarifying. That's all.
No, I didn't think you were. I'm kind of justifying it myself. We don't have to do like a 5-year award, but got some businesses. Thompson House of Pizza has been here since '87. We already did a couple long-term ones with American Rent Doll and Black Mirror, and LB's has been here for a long time, and that might get Ari to a community day for the first time ever.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I don't know. I don't think if you did something that was like, like the plaque for Business of the Year was a $40 thing. We could do something, even if it was just like a cheap frame and a printed certificate, and then you could give away 4 or 5 of them if you wanted. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years.
oh yeah,
Like
yeah. I make the certs for pizza, the pizza contest. I do them on a laser printer so the ink won't run,
Yeah,
and I put it in a frame from Walmart, a document frame,
yeah,
and they could put it right on the wall.
yeah.
John Sharp used to have his on the wall at Thompson Auto Care. So, so we could talk more about, if you think it's a good idea, we'll see how the longevity looks when I get that business list.
Yeah.
And we can, because I don't see a big deal in implementing that. We can, put a little bit of money aside for printing and little frames from EDC. It's not going to cost a lot. Okay. Everybody good with following up on that?
yeah,
Joe? Okay.
sure.
Okay. Next up, business attraction, create a strategy to highlight Thompson's assets. Now, that I made a note, there's a lot of that in the DKA brochure, which can be utilized and it can be enhanced. And we can make sure that information is also easily accessible on the website. Because people do look at the website when they're moving into town or looking at starting a business or whatever. We have present examples of being business friendly, and that we can. I put brainstorm, but that can be part of our visitations. Um, when we ask them, "Are you being supported by EDC, TBA, uh, zoning, whatever, the town hall in general?" Um, we could ask for examples, and Todd did put a couple in his brochure that he gave us. I think those are good stories, and we can feature them on the website as um, a monthly update or a monthly story or something like that.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm just like I'm confused about that a little bit. Like, who's gonna do that?
Well, we could incorporate, if we're gonna set up a visitation schedule to actually check in on the businesses, we could see if they have a story of how Thompson whatever has been helpful. And like I said, Todd has a couple of success stories in his brochure. He purposely went out and looked for some stories of how Thompson helped them with their business or whatever. I don't remember what's in here, but I know because we have Lord Thompson Manor in here. I think, oh, I didn't we have Thompson Liquor too? We had Neil in here. That he's so
Yeah,
happy with Thompson.
it was Lord Thompson Manor, Thompson
Neil.
Liquors.
And it was Neil.
Yeah, the Speedway
Yeah,
and possibly one other, but I know it was those
Neil.
three.
yeah, and I
Wasn't
remember
it Neil?
Neil.
No?
Well, that's Neil.
Okay.
Neil was Thompson Liquor. His cousin now
Oh.
owns the business, but yeah, and Neil said, he was essentially happy with Thompson. He moved here. He started 3 businesses in town. So it's that kind of story, Dan.
Yeah,
And we could just get that just by having conversations with people. That maybe we can get a story of the month or something to feature on the website. Because again, people looking to move into town, they go to the website, they're going to see that. They don't even have to ask for it.
right.
So I thought that was, and again, this was in Todd's idea, in his ideas in the marketing proposal, but I thought it was good. And the second one is again compile a list of available commercial industrial properties. It's similar to what we have right at the beginning. And Joanne can definitely help us with commercial properties. No, yeah, not
Yeah.
commercial. You can help us with residential properties.
Correct.
I don't know if that'll be as useful since we're economic development, but
No, I don't think anybody needs to know whose house is for sale, but it won't last from one meeting to the next anyway. So.
yeah, that's true. But anything you can do with commercial with what you have
Yeah, I'll
access to.
try to do it. Yep.
When we can work on getting more resources for that over time to get a better view of what's in town. Next, we have present agricultural history and connection. Some of that is alluded to in the brochure. Some of that is already on our website. And since that's part of our identity, we have to make sure that that's clear. The next 2, we have promote natural resources and recreational opportunities, and we have proximity to major cities, airports, routes. That is in Todd's brochure, both of those. So I put check marks next to those. We already have examples of it in Todd's sample brochure. We have provide pricing comparisons for housing and costs of living. Again, Joanne can look at housing comparisons, but I don't know if that's going to be a main focus.
I can give you whatever you want. I don't know. During the meeting, I could just tell you what's available, currently on MLS and what's for rent. I don't have to give you a written report. I can just do it live while we're doing the meeting. Because again, that will change. Every month
Yeah.
it's going to change.
Well, one thing I put the note at the end there, refer to future rental units. Now in Todd's brochure, in Todd's brochure, he refers to 929 as being developed and future units and future everything. We don't mention the old St. Joseph's.
No, we can't. because it's not, they haven't even started anything, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good for that could be good information for a business thinking of coming into town. Not so much for somebody looking to move here, because like you said, they haven't started yet. But if somebody is looking to see how serious are we about expansion and keeping our town alive, knowing that 40 units are coming might be a good thing, and the location of them. And the last one in that section is document town processes for business registration, permitting, and licensing. And Todd does have a section on that in the brochure. And one thing we've talked about over the years is a simple step-by-step, see this office first, see this office, especially for simple businesses like mine was. I didn't need any rezoning. I didn't need anything. I don't remember who I talked to 21 years ago, and it's probably changed now anyway. But
Who do we talk to do that?
I would start by asking Renee, because she would have an idea of the flow. I know I had to go to the assessor's office. But like I said, I don't remember. And it's
Yeah,
probably changed.
Right. I don't remember exactly either.
But it is something that we should have a handle on as the EDC. So I can start that rolling, especially for a simple like a DBA or some simple business where we don't need planning and zoning. Todd has more steps and more involvement in his brochure of when to go to planning and zoning and all that kind of stuff. It's more steps that I had to go through for a simple business, a mobile business working out of my truck. But
So
I
to
do
be
get,
clear, anybody who comes to try to register a trade name in Thompson, whether it's for a home occupation business or a brick and mortar storefront or whatever, if they're coming to register their trade name, they go to the town clerk's office, and then the town clerk actually sends them to see if it's a home, well, for any kind of business, if it's a home occupation, she can sign off on her own authority. If it's anything that requires a more complicated physical location, that's when it goes in front of the commission. But they all have to come in for something.
right.
And apparently, at least as I was told by Bank Hometown, they do not do DBA accounts. So that's part of why we see more people coming in to register the trade names, to get the business checking accounts, which then leads to them getting their home occupation or other kind of business permit through the zoning office.
They don't do DBA accounts.
In
Hmm.
Connecticut, apparently that's the case, because I tried, totally coincidentally, I tried to set up my volleyball club account because
Yeah.
I hold all their cash as a DBA, and Bank Hometown would not do that.
I think they don't do that I don't think a lot of banks are stopping to do that because it's kind of like a go around for businesses. If you can just go into a bank and get a DBA account, then you don't really need to register your business.
Yeah, and in this case, it's not really a business at all. It's just me holding money in common for a bunch of people. But I still couldn't set up a DBA.
And I did, I went to Webster first when I did, but only because my daughter was working there. Because I would have gone to Citizens or whatever it was at the time, being local, but I went to Webster first. But I still registered my business. For me, it wasn't a workaround. I just wanted a checking account. And I do have one for my car club with DCU, and I won't ever cancel that because I won't be able to get another one. Like you, Tara. It's just a simple little car club, and I hold their money in
Yeah.
the bank.
Yeah, I think it's a lot to do with just, it's a loophole for a lot of people to get around being properly registered and having proper insurance and all that kind of stuff. But yet you can still go to a client and say, yeah, make the check out to DBC Solutions, because you
Huh.
can walk to the bank and cash it.
Okay, I never thought of that. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never even think of that. Okay,
Brian?
so yeah,
Ask a question. Are you planning to go through all 4 pages tonight?
we don't, I'm looking at the time, Joe, and I know you like to
Yeah.
be done by
I'm
8 or
trying to
so.
prepare myself to sit here till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock tonight. I wasn't prepared to sit here that long.
No, we don't have to. I wanted to get a start on this because we could talk about this forever.
Yeah, but I like your strategy about, we're hitting each point. So I think it's a great idea, and we're spending, good quality time discussing each individual bullet point. So good strategy. I just don't want to spend all night doing all 4 pages. Sorry.
Yeah.
So if I could make a logistical suggestion for you,
Yeah.
and
What?
this is mostly for you, Yasino, but somewhat for the other people who have at least tentatively agreed to take tasks on. Starting in the November meeting, amend your agenda to reflect what you've kind of doled out for assignments here tonight, and that's what you'll be reporting on. That's A, and then B is, I would go back, if I were you guys, and look at Todd's full report and decide which of those pieces you want to put into an RFP for a vendor to handle for you. What is beyond your capacity and what is important to you? Because that is the entire purpose, at least according to our prior discussion, of your annual budget this year. And you don't want to be sitting on it till the last minute. You want to be able to go out to RFP and get somebody working on it as soon as you feel you're ready.
Yeah, okay. That sounds good.
Yeah, I think a lot of this seems like something that we should be getting somebody to do.
Well, I don't know about there's a lot that we can do also.
Yeah.
Like following up with businesses and ask them if we're actually helping them or how can we assist them, being more inclusive. There's a lot that we can do with that. And if you
Right.
look at the next section there, and then we can end this, Joe, strategies to attract businesses. We have reached out to prospective businesses and commercial real estate professionals. So Tara started this with going to Connecticut commercial realtors, and now I'm going, and Dan is gone. Kind of getting ourselves out there and being part of some outside resources. So that commercial realtors meeting essentially is partly covers this suggestion from Todd. So as I was reading Todd's 17 pages, I said, I'm in my head, I'm thinking there is some stuff we're doing. We can feel like we're not, completely fluffing it all off here. We've been actively trying to do better. But yeah, I'm okay with stopping at this first page. And like Tara said, if not only look at the next 3 pages, but to see what we can do, because that's what I focused on. But look at Todd's 17 pages, make some notes, and we could start talking about that next month. The last item I have on the agenda anyway is just to report upcoming events. We have the Turkey Trot November 10th. Brian Lafredo's been all over the world getting sponsors for that. And we have the Winter Festival December 7th, which hopefully we have businesses sign up for that, but there's been a change where we originally were going to have businesses inside. Everybody is now outside. That's going to make a difference as to who shows up as far as business setups. But we can update on that next month as we get closer to December 7th. Do you have something specific for Turkey Trot, Bry?
No, it's the usual stuff. We had our meeting the evening that we had our community day wrap up. So that was attended by most of the key people, Levency and Chelsea from Teague and Peter Lusa and John Kaczynskis. Just going over the checklist, making sure everything was getting done. Obviously, my big concerns at this point is marketing the event so we get enough people signed up. We have about 40 total, I think, Levency said, between runners and walkers right now, which is probably pretty normal. And of course, getting the final commitments in on the sponsorships. I did have the spreadsheet pulled up, but it timed out and it won't let me sign back in. I will say that right now our net over last year, added donations and lost donations is a plus 1,500. Last year's sponsorships were 16,100. That does not mean we're going to make it to 17,600 or even what I'd like to see is 18,000 this year, because right now there's still a lot of money to come in. A lot of people have promised their money. Thank you, Dan, for coming through and getting your check in. So I do have a lot of people listed as basically committed. We just haven't received the money yet. But there's still about, I think it was about 14 or 15 sponsors from last year that we have not heard from for one reason or another yet. So Levency and myself are going to be concentrating on following up on those the next 2 weeks. So that plus 1,500 could easily turn into a minus 3,000 at this point, depending on where those go. But I'm still confident we're going to exceed last year's total, and I'm still shooting for the 18,000. With Amanda in the office more now, we have someone else to help make follow-up phone calls and try to get these last ones on board. So we'll see where we go from there, and everything else is proceeding as usual. I think this is my 6th year running it, so
Okay.
figure I'll make it till 10 years maybe. How about that? Keep saying I'll be done at 20 if I can get it to 20,000. I might try to make it to 10 years, but like with this committee, as you've pointed out tonight, Brian, it's just hard to find people that want to step up and do these things. I know Karen really would probably like to not keep running trails, and I don't want to be running Turkey Trot forever. And as part of our 250th national celebration, Amy had mentioned the possibility, because we're looking at running a marathon for that as part of that. And she said, oh, maybe we could do that every year. And I said, that takes a lot of people, and it's going to take someone that wants to run it. And we can't even get someone to take over Turkey Trot from me someday. And I'm volunteering to tackle the trail, as I usually do, as a reach out on Saturday. And they sent out their assignments on Tuesday, and it looks like they're missing a lot of volunteers. There's a lot of to be determined spots on the route. So it's getting harder and harder to find people willing to commit to volunteering and even taking part in things like this, which
Well,
for the
it's
most
because
part,
the
all of my work
volunteers,
in town, I find very rewarding, but we can't seem
but the
to find.
volunteers are already volunteering at 17 other places.
But it's the same group. It's the people that we've
Right.
got to reach out to that don't do this, and
Yes.
hopefully see the benefit of stuff like this.
When it comes to like leadership, like what you're doing, Brian, getting somebody to take that over, have you asked anybody to do it?
Well, all we have to ask are the people that are on the Trails Committee. And our Trails Committee is just like this committee. We can't get more people to join. We'll get someone coming in, having an interest, going to a meeting or two, and we'll never hear from them again.
Right.
So we've basically had the same committee for almost as long as I've been on it, just like EDC, other than you were the last person to join since I've been here. But you have the same people all the time for all the years, and you're not getting
Right.
new interest. And again, I'm fine with doing it. At some point, it just, been there, done that. I've succeeded at what I hope to accomplish, and it'll be time to pass it on, and it'll be easy for whoever takes over, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking again, like this EDC alternate, we've been talking about this for what, a year, 2 years, and we can't even get someone to take a simple alternate position with
Right.
virtually no responsibilities.
Yeah, no, and that's how I put it too. I brought it up with TBA and generally people in town, but
Yeah, I just brought that up because, that's, somebody suggested that to me about trying to find a new president for the TBA.
Yeah.
And so I asked and it worked. So I'm just, throwing it out there.
I mean, our best option, it would be John, but John is still working. He doesn't have the time or the bandwidth to put into it with what he already does. And even at that point, I don't know that he's going to want to take it over at some point. We just need a couple of younger people to join the committee. There's certainly plenty of people that use the trails. It's like I came to town and live up from the airline trail and said, oh, this is something that I should take an interest in. And I did, but other people don't.
Yeah.
well, maybe with us being more involved with the high school, eventually we'll get some younger people. I don't mean, kids, they're all gonna grow up and get out of school. Maybe we'll have some interest there.
I'm seeing a little more of that with like Jennifer Boblitz's son Diedrich. He's taking quite an interest in the political spectrum right now. And, there are kids out there. When we did our thing at the high school last year with the people from various committees that went to have roundtable discussions with some of the kids at the school, and some of them had good questions and were really interested and wanted to learn what happens in the town,
Yeah,
and would take an interest if they stay in the town and take it on as their future.
Yeah.
yeah, and that all goes hand in hand with the units over at St. Joe's and development at 929. It's one big picture here. But anyway, does any more, no more, we have no citizens. Do we have any more comments by commission members before we close?
I just want to thank you, Brian, for the time you're putting into that marketing thing. It seems like you gave it a lot of thought and some good discussion. And hey, that's great. And we're here to do things that you need me to help visit businesses and talk to them. That's something I could probably do. Just let's keep moving forward. And
Yeah, I think no matter what, that'll be good for us and for them. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so as usual, if you have anything you think of for next agenda, let me know. And if we're set, I'll just call the meeting at 8:08 p.m.
Sounds good to me.
Good. Have a good night,
You
everybody.
too. Thanks, everybody.
Good night,
See you next
everybody.
time.
yeah.
Good night. Take care. Bye.